I feel like there's something energetically happening. Urs could definitely probably. Hi, everybody. We're already talking. So, Lexi, Mermaid in the Mountains, made a post about Monday being like the most Monday of all Mondays. And I laughed. I was like, yeah. Like yesterday, Monday was the longest week of my life. But then Tuesday today also has been the longest week of my life. It's got to be something with the energy. So maybe Mandee knows. Maybe she can help us. Maybe Urs is listening. Maybe Urs can be like, hey, yep, this is what's going on. Because, yeah, it's been insane, the energy lately. And I think a lot of people are feeling it. Hi, Andrea.
There's a lot of intense energy happening. And a big part of what that is too is so many of us are highly sensitive beings, and we really honor the inner winter. And at the end, it's the end of winter right now, and a lot of things are getting ready to die off. And it's important that we take a look at where our nutrients are going and what we're feeding in ourselves and in our lives and what's happening. And there's been major times of change happening for a lot of people. Some of it's astrological for sure. If Earth tunes on, we'll ask her to give us a little update on that. There's been solar flares, and a lot of it is just the inner knowings and stirrings and our inner seeds getting ready for the spring that we have. We are nature and we're part of it. And so this is the end of the winter and the dying offs, and it's a little turbulent, and there's a lot of just things coming into people's consciousness where they're like, oh shit, like I don't really want to do this anymore. I really want to do that. I got to make time and space for it. There's always, it takes work and action. And so a lot of that is coming up in people's realms right now, and it's intense.
I love that. And I love that you're talking about that. So we have, hi, Andrea, Heather, and Alice, my mom. Hi, Mom. I love that because it's like, I feel personally, based on my past, we all have talked about different situations, circumstances, and diagnoses. I believe fully that because the changes that have occurred in my life throughout my life have taught my brain, that back part of your brain that you have really no control over, it's taught that place inside of myself to see change as traumatic. And so it's hard to welcome change, and it's hard to embrace change, even though you feel pulled. And it's like, I left Sea Goddesses. It's not anything against the Sea Goddesses, obviously, because I love Mandee. She is a goddess. And if not for Mandee, I wouldn't be sitting here in this moment as like crystally as she is. It's Mandee that helped me through that. But I did it because there's things changing right now in my horizon, and it's requiring me to make space to learn different things. And I can't learn different things if I don't make the time for the different things. And I'm finding, yesterday I spent with 3 hours trying to edit something, and it was a mess. It was a hot mess. Still haven't done it. But at the same time, it was like, I'm learning how to do different things. And so if I want to pull different things into my space, I have to open the door to different things and also allow the change. And I've realized, like, I see change as a negative, and it's probably because of how change usually looks to us. Change doesn't always come with happiness. A divorce doesn't necessarily feel good in the moment. However, in the future, it ends up putting us in different spaces and positive places. And so every time there's an abrupt change that comes into my life, it triggers that PTSD, and it causes me to be like, fight or flight type of a situation. And I really had to learn how to embrace this change differently for the positive, and really learn how to refocus on myself going forward in a positive way. And so once again, things coming up for clients, there's lots of changes for you. Did the weekend review last week because that's kind of what's coming in. And that's why I was like, God, it's kind of a neat topic, but I know I'm not the only person experiencing this. And I know I'm not the only person that struggles with change. I know I'm not the only person that sees it as negative sometimes and has a hard time embracing what that looks like for us as a whole as well. And so it's kind of neat to have these conversations about it, to normalize what that looks like a little bit and make us not feel maybe so crazy. Because I sometimes feel crazy when I'm feeling those things, and I'm like, why do I feel like this? And then I don't want to talk. And I'm just like, no. I turn into like Gollum, sitting in a corner somewhere. My precious.
I love you, my precious crystal, you magical crystalline being. So it's so divine. I love these topics because change is uncomfortable for most people. We're creatures of habit. We're used to it. Often on the other side of change is great reward. And right here today, our Louise is actually, I open my consciousness up to the expansion of life. There is plenty of space for me to grow and to change.
Mm.
So that's pretty cool. And that's in alignment. And the only thing constant in life is change. And the only species that survives is the one that's able to adapt most to change. Not the fastest, not the smartest, not the strongest, the one that's able to adapt most to change. So it's a great topic. And the idea of leaving something when it's healthy, when it feels good, when you're like, okay, this served me, this was good, this is great. I might be back, I might not, but I'm feeling like I only have this much energy, time, capacity to give to certain things in my life. And honoring that is a rare and sacred thing.
It is. It was so funny because I actually had to speak to my counselor about that because change. And I was like, I just want to make sure I'm not being toxic about this and doing it for the right reason. She was like, Crystal, just talk to them. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Like, why you got to make things so crazy to yourself? And it's because, like I said, it's the way that it's interpreted through self based on past experiences, but gratefully so. I love, like I said, I absolutely love all of the goddesses. And when laid out for them, they were like, I get it. I understand. And I was like, thank you so much. Because it's not that I want to leave. It's just right now I really need to grow in different ways and expand what I'm teaching myself. And that's all going to be for a positive. And I still foresee, like I said, I still foresee me working with them. I still foresee me going over to New York and meeting everybody because I just love them so much. So thank you guys for being you again and loving me through the changes that have taken place rapidly. I really, fully, absolutely love Mandee and the clan at Sea Goddesses. I cannot express it enough. Because of that, it's really cool. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's really cool it's really cool when you're somebody who hasn't really had that positive experience of people to have a positive experience of people, and I think that's what lit my soul the most is it's a positive experience of people. It wasn't an ugly, traumatic tower moment where everything had to be ugly and everything had to be toxic. And once again, those are past experiences which probably also ignited this. And so when you have those sister wounds that we talk about a lot, and we talk about how, friendships leave and we feel a little bit slighted or whatever, this wasn't that moment. And it taught me so much about people and feels and gut vibes and finding people that really are amazing people. And that's what I feel like in this situation, because I have a group of women who really surround me and said, do your thing, girl. Do your fucking thing. And I was like, oh my God, that feels so good. That feels so weird, but it feels so good because that's not always what we as women have and are surrounded by. I talk to women all the time who struggle with friendships with women because of some of those aspects. And so, yeah, it was just a positive experience all the way around. So we love them.
Yeah. Oh, I do. And I believe that we're meant to hold space for one another as we grow. And we're truly in here for these sovereign, separate journeys. And at times we're meant to gather and be in community. And at times we're meant to be solo and out exploring and learning and adding to our tool belt. And they can ebb and flow. And that's what true soul family is. That's what it means to us, for sure. To me, is to hold space and to truly root for whoever's, whatever's going on in your crew. So we love you. We honor you. We support all the things you're inviting in right now. And of course, we're still going to be doing this show. So don't worry. Crystal and I have been working together for many, many years before any of this stuff even existed. So don't you even worry. And I was thinking about it. I do want to make a note too. Who's got all this creative energy? Who's suddenly pulling tarot cards and oracle cards? And who is suddenly creating all this stuff when she changed the direction of her desk?
I know, right? And that's what I was like, and it was so funny because I was like, every time I see Mandee with that Rebecca Campbell, every time I'm just like, I love the way it looks. It looks like a holographic image, and it just is 3D, and it's just so beautiful. And I'm like, why not? Just get it, Crystal. Just get it. Just feel it out. And I was like, yes, thank you, Mandee, because it's a beautiful deck. Any of you who want to do tarot, it's, I can't remember what it's called. It's the Work Your Light deck.
Work Your Light
By Rebecca Campbell. It's absolutely beautiful. So yes, I did. That's the one. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then I was like, oh yeah, thanks, Mandee, because I'll hit those puppies. I know how to do it. So yes.
And like, that's such a great way to start working with cards. Just pull yourself one a day, see what comes in, like let yourself have fun with it. I still pull myself a card a day just to see what messages are coming in, what feels good. It's a great way to learn it. And it's a great way to connect to your higher self and follow your soul. I love
really
it.
Funny. I was like, because when the card that I pulled was leap, and that's actually a symbol for me. That's literally a symbol for me in spirit. And I was like, this is why I don't use tarot cards, because generally speaking, there's symbols that they already give to me when it comes to this. Mandee just accidentally popped herself off, but she'll be back on, I promise. And for some reason, I'm not seeing the comments up here. So if you guys are commenting, my comments aren't like speeding up with the people that are watching. So please just know I do have some comments, but they're kind of popping in a little bit slow. So I'm sorry about that. But yes,
it was slow on my side too. I was trying to scroll it and then it X'd me out. So it is moving slow.
Oh, Mandee has that one too. Kara says that she also likes the Rose Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell as well. Mandee has that one also that I've seen her use. And it was a toss up between those two for me, actually, Kara, because it's beautiful. The Rebecca Campbell ones, the artwork.
One is the Star Seed.
Yeah, her artwork is phenomenal. The person that she has for her artists, I love them. The imagery is just so beautiful and captivating, and I really like just the imagery itself. But it's really funny how the tarot oracle cards actually are kind of symbols already for spirit. So I love the way that they give it, and it's present in the moment, and I can just pull a card instead of being like pulling the energy in. So yeah, it's super fun and I love it. So hello everybody and welcome to our Tuesday. Do you guys have any questions? Do you have any comments? Do you have any things? Mandee, do you want to discuss anything? Talk about a topic? What's up today?
Well, I really like the idea of what we were just talking about a little bit, in that when you sense that stirring and that rumbling of the seed breaking apart before it wants to grow, and like when you're ready to leave something in a healthy way. And why does change have to be traumatic? And of course, change is traumatic because a lot of times change happened when we didn't have a choice and we were drug around and things went down. But now we have a choice, at least in the way we respond to change or what's going down, because still you might lose a job suddenly, a family member, things are crazy. It's Earth School, it's life. So like, how do we step into change, honor our human, honor our feelings, and then allow ourselves to, you know, be empowered through that? Like, it's a hard thing, and it's definitely a big, you know, grown up conscious energy, and it can be really hard, but it can also be so beautiful.
Absolutely love that. I'm learning that, by the way. This is a year of learning for me to really, and it's beautiful how it happens. I can preach this till the cows come home, which is what I usually talk about. When people ask me how, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Because it's been such it's like a branch off a tree. Okay. It's like, you know, you have the trunk and then you have the root system, and you might have like one root that comes off, but then you have several different shoots that come off that one root. It's several different things all at once happening together that lead you to the next root. And I don't know how to put that into words for people, because I think in our human organic brains want to make it something so linear, so like in front of our face. Like you go to school, right? You go to school to learn, to graduate, to get the job, to go to college. And I think that because that's how we're taught life works, that's how we think life works, but it's just not. And there's so many different shoots off from it, and it's a constant movement and a constant, okay, this worked for me today, but it's just not hitting me today. And so now I have to rework this. And it's constantly finding something else to bring into your flow of energy that does work for you in that moment, which can be extremely frustrating when we don't have teachers. We don't have books to guide us specifically in what we need specifically. And we also feel very lost because of where we've been, what we've done, how we've experienced, how we've grown, how we've been met, how we've met ourselves. And so there's all these different things that get in the way from helping us kind of form. And that's literally what this last year has been. And it's because I said, I want bigger. I want to do the things that you said you wanted me to do, guys. And they said, hold my beer. We're going to take you on this journey. And I said, what the hell are you doing? Why are we doing this so fast, guys? And they had to remind me over and over again that it's because I asked for it and I was ready for it, because I took the first leap and I took the first jump. And I always say to people when they come to me, if they want the gifts or want to understand their gifts, be careful what you wish for, because once you ask for it, it'll happen.
There's no going
That's
back.
what I've learned.
Ultimately, you can trust spirit. You can shut it down if you want. But it's true. It'll come because that's another thing, the universal law of consent. That's why consent is still such a big deal in our own individual realities, because we have all of these major laws and things that we have to like work through. And when you ask, you shall receive. That shit is real. So I like that warning, Crystal, with love.
It is
Warning
with love. And it's funny because, like, once again, I think the clarity of the brain system this year has just, I feel like I'm really grateful for that, is the understanding, because Crystal's really logic. When I say that I'm skeptical, I'm writing down names of people who are saying they want messages. So I just want you to know that's what I'm doing when I'm looking down. I'm writing people down. I'm paying attention to you guys. I love you. But when I say that I'm like this logical, skeptical person that sits with spirit, I really seriously mean that. Like when I first started this, you were literally talking about somebody who was an infant in all things spirit and had no understanding of anything at all in this. And I literally had to like learn myself in a very short period of time how to do it. And it's been such a thing. And even when you think that you think you know stuff, life has a way of turning things around on you and showing you how much you don't know. And so it's this beautiful journey of growth, and to fully embrace that has been something that I think I struggled with, even though I didn't know that I was struggling with. And so I think it's kind of neat because there are so many of us who are on this path, and there are so many of us who are trying to get our crap together, so to speak, and put in the work, but we don't know what the work is. We don't know what the work looks like. And it's because it's different for each of us, which is why I'm like, that's why the tapping into you is the most important thing. And you can tap into others. You can listen to other people. You can take what they say. You can use it in your life. You can do all those things. That's beautiful. But you got to tap in here to understand where you lie, what your purpose is, what your plan is, because your plan might be similar to mine. Lexi, Mermaid in the Mountains, she channels and sees spirit a lot like me in a lot of different ways, but still she's got a different purpose. We have different experiences because we're different. And so Mandee, beautiful, amazing Ascension guide. And she sits with the angels so much. And I know other people who do that too, but they do it different. And Mandee does it different, and she meets them different, and she's able to receive different. So it's really finding where you lie and taking that and using that in your daily life instead of looking for something that's going to put you on this path of self-discovery. You're already on the path of self-discovery. Like you're already there. It's how you use that every day that makes the difference. And so it's been such a growing experience going through the crazy that I've been through and teaching me, hey, Crystal, spirit here doesn't like people, by the way. They don't. Spirit's hard here. I went to Knight's Ferry, and the first thing I heard was, if you want to tap into us, you're going to have to prove to us that you're doing it for the right reasons. It's been a rough ride over the past year for me to tap in and ground myself here. Even ground myself. Because to ground yourself, you have to tap in. To ground yourself, you have to feel one with the space that you're tapping into. Your roots have to take root. And my roots were not taking root here at all. It's been such a struggle to get me in this balanced state again. But I appreciate that because Spirit said, this is what we want. And if you're not going to listen to our needs, then we're not going to meet you. And I was like, oh, okay, I hear you. I hear you and I receive you. What do you need from me? And so it's me once again getting out of Crystal's head and being in the space of Spirit's head, which is literally what I'm here to do, that I don't always do so well.
And merging with your higher self. Like there's spirit, there's the higher self crystal, there's angels, ancestors, guides, all the things. And the way you prove it, like, you know, is truly by your genuine feelings, our genuine feelings, our wholehearted feelings. If we're wanting and manifesting something, it's because it's for the highest good of ourselves and all, not for something that's going to feed our ego or hurt someone else or this or that. That's how it works, guys. That's how you prove it, by doing the shadow work, by showing up, by doing the real work and being like, all right, you know what? I'm feeling a little resentful or jealous right now. And I only want that to happen because I'm hurt or whatever's going on. And you know what? That's not constructive. That's deconstructive. And how do I release this energy? And how do I truly call in what I want? And it's not so much that I want, you know, these other people to have something bad come to them. It's that I want peace and love and happiness and wealth and abundance and things to come to me. So it's about rewiring that and putting out our heart intention of, you know what, like I deserve peace. I am peace. I am loving. I am lovable. I am abundant. And I deserve to be here and take up space and do it from my heart. And we catch ourselves. I always joke around. We all know when we're an asshole. Like it's a vibration. You feel it. You always know. But there's always an opportunity to like fix that or correct it or apologize or do what you got to do. Like you feel that vibration too.
I'm really sitting with that. There's two different versions of all of us that exist. You know, there's our spirit self that exists, and then there's that organic self. And our brain's always going to want to, you know, our brain's always going to want us to lead us down this path. And we've got to let this speak a little bit louder than this. Because I too, Crystal, because of all these things, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Crystal's been the bitch. Okay. She's been the horrible person. She's been the demon in certain people's lives. I feel like we all are.
All have.
But there's such
perfect. And if you think you haven't, you cry.
Yeah, there's such a beauty in that honesty, though, because I feel like then that's when that personal responsibility comes in, and that's when we can start to have the closure for that and say, okay, I was, but I'm not now. And so because of some of these thought patterns and structures and moments, I too really get inside of my own head. And in those moments, I'm shutting down this and I'm not living within my truth. And so I'm not practicing what I'm preaching in my own life sometimes because I struggle so much with that PTSD or that CPTSD. And then in those fight or flight moments, I'm like, ah. And so I myself struggle with that. It's a back and forth, and it's constantly getting back to balance, And I saw it the other day, and I'm going to say God. I don't generally speak of politics or religion because not my jam. But I am going to say the word God. I saw a post the other day that said, you know, it's really funny how we ask God to punish his own children when they screw up. And I was like, oh, ew. So that would like be somebody coming to me on the street and like being like, your son's a piece of crap. I want you to do this to him. I want you to hurt him. I want you to torture him. I want you to. And I was like, ugh. You know, that does feel a little bit gross because collective consciously speaking, I don't look at God as a father. I look at God as source energy, which we all are. And when I'm punishing you, I'm punishing myself. Because you're part of me and I'm part of you. And so by being like, I want you to take care of this problem for me, bleh, that's a nasty way to look at it, because essentially I'm saying also, you know, boom, hold me down too. And I feel like giving love to yourself is giving love to others in those moments too, because it's retraining yourself to be accountable for those triggers and those feelings and thoughts. You can feel them. And you can recognize the disrespect, the hurt, the frustration, the anger, the lies, the torture, the narcissistic behaviors. You can recognize that and say, well, that's not something I want in my life. What is it, Crystal, that you're calling in to your life that's bringing this to your life? Like, what is it that you're putting out into the universe that's saying, treat me like this? That's where that self-accountability comes in.
I'm sorry, I'm totally interrupting, because sometimes with that part, because we do get a little like worried about like, what are we thinking? What are we attracting? Like what part of me is, you know, and sometimes it's a little bit of like, we're there to really hold love, and sometimes just speak our truth, or sometimes just be the peace, or sometimes not allow ourselves to get triggered by whatever behavior is happening. sometimes it's not something we're actually doing that's mirroring back. Sometimes it's an opportunity for embodiment, to practice what we preach and to change the energies that are flowing through our families and our friendships and ourselves, because we truly are all one. Alone means all one. And like, even then when we're separate, we feel it. And it's so important to be integral. Some healthy ways you can do that are like when it comes time to speak truth or something's happening, I always like to check in with myself. Like, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it helpful? And if none of that's the case, like I really try to refrain. And like, you know, we all do our best, and certain information sometimes needs to be shared and things like that. We all grew up gossiping and stuff. And there's always an opportunity to bring it back and be like, what's going on here? And if you can, and if people are ready and willing to have a conversation with you and a constructive conversation, like invite that in. But not everybody's always really willing to do that. And sometimes it's important to just speak your piece, you know, and make the decision based on what's best for you. And then when people really do want a relationship, you can figure that out. I have a client recently who she did massive, amazing healing work with her parents, and they didn't talk for a long time. Or when she did talk, she was like, you know, like they're always, you know, they're always drunk or this or that. And like, it's just really hard. And I'm trying to like live my spirit life and do all this. And I'm like, well, what if you want this connection with them, what if you just show up and you're the consistent one? And you call them at like 10 a.m. on Tuesday or something when like, you know, they might be a little more coherent or open to receiving. And then maybe you end up taking that mother-father kind of baton as you're stepping into that energy. And then you show up and be consistent and see what happens. Maybe you're the glue that sticks it together. And then you can, when, you know, if they're starting to complain or, you know, talk about negative things or something, you can just say, all right, I love you so much. I got to go. Healthy boundary, like, and off. I'll call you next week, same time. I love you. Hope you have a great week. And then it's like we do have so much more control than we possibly think we do. So much, so many of the times. And when it comes to, and I remember learning once too, I wanted to share actually from Oprah, that she said, when things are good, a lot of times it's time to leave. You start to feel things are really good. You start to feel that little bit of a dip. And that's a lot of times your sign of maybe it's time for a new experience. Maybe it's time to go in the in-between and see what the new is and how can I release this in a really healthy way. And so I invite us all to do that more. And we're definitely going to do some readings. I have to go at 7 because we actually have an online soul circle tonight with Sea Goddess, and we would love for all of you to join. It's $11.11. And you can join right on our website, seagoddesshealingarts.com. And it's going to go tonight from 7:30 till 9. We're going to hold soul space and talk about all the energies that are going on. Ursula is going to give an astro weather reading. We're going to do soul inquiry, card readings. We've got some meditation and sharing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm definitely going to go through the list of people who requested readings, but we're going to do it a little, probably more rapid tonight.
Perfect. If you want, we can start that now. So we don't like go over, because I want to make sure that you can get there. Also, Soul Circle is awesome. It's a safe place for you to have safe conversations. So I just want to say that, like, a lot of us don't feel like we have places to have conversations, and it's a place to have those safer conversations that maybe you wouldn't have out loud with other people, because that's what is needed sometimes. So I just want to say that also. And hello, Karen. She is new. She says, hello, Karen.
Hello.
She says, I'm new.
And you don't even have to share. Sometimes it's nice. Oh, sorry.
Nope, it's fine. I'm going back up to the comments so I can, I'm going back on my list so I can see. So Terry says, could you please let me know what my guides are telling me tonight? Mandee, could I please have a card? I love Terry. Hi, Terry.
For Terry. Terry got the Sage. Be devoted and committed. At this time, Terry, they're just showing it is a time to go within and to do some learning and to maybe show up for your spiritual practice. Rebecca Campbell and a lot of other teachers call it non-negotiable spiritual practice. And sometimes that's doing 5 minutes of yoga a day or meditation or some journaling or writing or going for a walk every day, connecting with nature, breath work, things like that. So if there's anything rising in you at this time, take a look at what you're feeling called to commit yourself to. And if it's simple thing, like I want to lose weight or get in shape, okay, well, what food prep do you have to do? And what, things do you have to do to start going to work out or to, if you want to go to a gym or do yoga or this or that. So you have to be devoted and you have to make a plan. And right now there's a lot of beautiful discipline energy around you. So see what's coming up, see what's rising to be committed and devoted to at this time, and see what action step you can take in order to do that. Hope that helps, Terry. Awesome. Are you on mute, Crystal?
That's my day. That's how I felt all day today. Just technological issues going on right now inside. Sorry, guys. Yes, love Terry. Thank you, Terry, so very much. I was saying that you show up all the time and you're amazing and I love you. So thank you so very much for the comments. And I hope that did sit right with your soul. As always, guys, they're giving me love. I feel like it's funny how much we don't think we're doing the work, but we're doing the work if we wake up and we get out of bed. I mean, like most of us anyway, I guess is what I'm saying. Because, we can be stuck in that. We're doing
the work so hard.
Yeah. So like the work is literally just showing up for yourself, answering calls, talking to people, getting out of your house, showing up for yourself. If you can't get out of the house, if you're just like giving yourself love for once and, taking some time, even that's showing up for yourself. You have to internalize it a little bit different within yourself. So Terry's one of the ones that always shows up. And Audra says, I am open to any messages. I need all the message from spirit I can get right now. Haha, maybe I'm not hearing what the message is. I'm getting their messages and signs. I'm letting Mandee pull cards for you. And I think it's funny when we talk about spirit, because I think a lot of us don't understand. Even I have a hard time with this. When it comes to you guys, I can read very, very well. When it comes to myself, I can misinterpret. I can ignore it because maybe it's not something I want to hear, or maybe it's not something I'm fully ready to receive. Or maybe they're waiting to give me the answer because they're going to give it to me through a conversation, a situation, a scenario that's taking place in my life. And so the things have to be lined up correctly. And so you're gifted. They're putting this huge, beautiful swarm of energy around you, like in this beautiful tornado. That's beautiful, by the way, not ugly. And they're making me feel like there's all these different things, all these parts that are moving around you right now, all at once, which can be confusing because it's probably difficult to understand which one to grasp onto, or which one to hold on to, or which one to pull inside of yourself right now, because it feels a little overwhelming. But you're taking in the messages, and that's all they're asking you to do. And I think Mandee's going to answer the other part of this, because then they're taking a step up and pointing to Mandee, which usually means to me that, and on top of that, while you're taking this stuff in, you're also taking like a leap of faith, but you're also taking a step up in your own life, which is going to bring in new possibilities, new understandings, new experiences, and possibly even new ways to channel the energy that you receive going forward. So that's what they got to say through me.
And I did pull you a card, Audra, and it is the Stag, to trust and thrive. That is your message right now. When the signs aren't coming in, when things aren't happening, it's to, I trust. I trust that the job is coming, the money is coming, the love is coming. I'm trusting that the gifts are coming, the signs, the things that I'm doing. I trust that all is well. All my needs are met. I deserve to live. I deserve to be present. I deserve to enjoy my everyday moments and the things that are coming in. So at this time, take a little bit of that gumption energy and trust and say, you know what? Angels do have my back, and I'm walking with ancestors, and all is well at this time. So they're with you, and they want you to trust and do whatever it is you need to do to focus on shifting from surviving to thriving, and trusting whatever aspects of your life you can to call that in.
I love that. She says, I needed that so bad. Thank you. I needed that so bad. I love that. And another one of those things that one of Crystal's root systems is, first off, I know what I believe. It's like, I know what I believe. You have to figure out what you believe. My belief system is that we're all part of a collective consciousness energy. And so I don't believe in separate energies. I believe that all of them are pieces and parts together, which is why I also believe that we already have the answers inside of us. And so if you're asking for something out loud, waiting for, the answer to come back in, we also have to remind ourselves that we bring that light here. That light resides inside of us, and see yourself in that light being too. Because when we're focusing our energy on the human aspects of our life, we're going to have a split in our spiritual existence, which is what we're trying to bring ourselves back into. It's literally like pulling your higher self, that source energy, back into yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to allow this to sit inside of my soul. And I thank you for choosing this body. I thank you for choosing me. And what is it that you called me to do this time around? You have those answers. So to me personally, viewing them outside of myself actually separates me from the knowledge and the understanding and the feelings and the vibes that I already know to be true. So I don't know if that can help any of you, but that's actually been something that's been extremely important. Mandee and I have talked about this, Soul Circle, Through the Goddesses. This has been something that has actually been so incredibly important for me over this past year. And that is to set everything else aside and essentially remarry my higher self and allow her, whatever, to be a part of this life, in this body, in this creation, and lead me through, because that light is what essentially lights the way through your tunnel of darkness when you're in your most dark moments. It's in you. It's a part of you. And that's our job, is to give that back to other situations, but you can't until you let it in. Most of us are living in this weird disassociated state where we're not a part of ourselves, and we're trying to give to other people, but we're not calling that back in, and we're not calling that light back into ourselves. And I feel like a lot of us have been like that. Our ancestors, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, all of those people. Every one of us essentially are like that, because nobody was taught to do that. We were taught that it was an outside source, but creating it to be part of yourself gives you a little bit more understanding on what it means to give that back to the world and how to give that back to the world, while also loving yourself in your most human moments. Because if you're a light bringer, light worker, then essentially your job is to meet those dark, dark moments, those ugly, raw moments that make everybody else feel a certain way or make everybody else see a certain way, and kind of say, you know what, I see it for what it is, but I bless it with love, and I ask you to be around then. That's the light you're working back into a situation. So I don't know if that helps. I hope it does. I hope I didn't just ramble for the nonsense of it, but I love you guys if that was whatever. Anywho.
Well, the other thing is too, the reason we incarnate here right now, the reason we're all showing up for this dance is this is a lifetime we have the space to come conscious. This is the lifetime where, even though, you know, we're all still modern day slaves in whatever way that is, and we're fighting debt and we're earning incomes and all this stuff, and, you know, things are hard, we also have instant gratification. We've got like our cell phones where we can Google and learn anything at any time. We have mental health. We have certain things that we haven't had in many other lifetimes. And at this point in consciousness, we have the opportunities to wake up, to see the truth, and to remember it from within. And what happens is, as we all light our own lights, the way you do that is by tuning into the things that literally bring you joy, light you up, where you pass time and it's like no time is gone. And that's going to ebb and flow and change throughout your life. And as you follow that light, you light up everything, and it lights up the electromagnetic grid. And then we all start leading from a higher place, from our higher hearts, and being connected to our higher selves. And it's amazing. So there's a reason these seeds are stirring in you. There's a reason we're all revolutionary and we're here at this time, and it's going to be beautiful. So have patience and have faith with yourself. What do we have from Sage the Mage?
We have, if you happen to do any readings today, I would appreciate one in relation to my connection to spirit. I am grieving an old boyfriend today and thinking of what spirits may or may not be around me. And as a medium, I'm going to tell you they're always around you, even though it doesn't always feel like it. But also I'm going to say that sometimes they know that you're feeling heavy and they don't want to add that heaviness to you. In a spiritual sense, I had a channeling experience yesterday where a girl had lost her father. He was he wasn't the greatest dad per se through people's perspectives when he was here. And there was a lot of heaviness around the situation. And he said, and I love this, he said, so I know you're not really feeling me right now. Like, I know you're not really feeling me around you all the time right now, but it is actually because I'm learning how to communicate through energy for the first time in my life. And I'm learning how to have those conversations in a different way, because when he was here, he knew how to put his issues, his problems, his traumas, his dramas, his focus, his sadness, his frustrations onto other people, because sometimes that's what we learn and that's what we grow through. And sometimes people are better at that. I also struggled with that for a while, dumping. But he was like, look, it doesn't mean that I'm not around you. It means that I'm taking responsibility for my own feelings right now, because I understand that emotionally speaking, you can't meet me there. And I thought that was so beautiful. And so I'm going to say that that boyfriend of yours is probably with you, because in a spiritual level, that's how I see everything. But I'm also going to say that he probably understands what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, because of how he crossed. It's very fast. It's very like carpet being pulled out from underneath my feet. It was a traumatic experience for everybody around us. But he's also acknowledging the fact that you feel him all the time, and you know that he talks to you all the time, because you have felt comforted by him. You have felt loved by him. You have felt him internally inside of yourself as the hug that he shares with you. You question him a lot, by the way. You question whether it's him. You're like, if that was you, can you do it again? Or does this mean this? And so he's like, you question a lot, but you know that he's there. And today is no different. It's just today he's hugging you instead of, essentially asking you to meet his energy. So I hope that helps as well.
Okay, so I pulled the card, and I'm feeling called to pull the starseed one too. Mm-hmm. So you've got Mother Earth, feel love and comforted. It is a time to rock yourself right now. It's a time to go in deep, to sow your energies deep into the earth and allow yourself to literally be rocked. And what can you do to give yourself the things that you're needing to feel more comfortable, to feel more connected at this time? You are incredibly connected, and the signs are all there and things are coming in. Grief is the most human thing that we can feel here on earth. And we go through all kinds of grieving processes. We go through relationships. We go through whether, they're living or deceased or whatever, it ends, and it's scary, and we're not quite sure if we'll ever be the same after that. And they have impacts on us. And it's the same with our jobs and our schools and our loved ones and our friendships, and things ebb and flow, and a lot of that change that we were talking about. And grief is part of that. The grief is the amount that you loved. It's the part of you that feels like, you know what, like, I loved that experience. I loved that time. And I know it's never going to quite be the same again. And that's part of embracing change too, is so many people, especially when you're traditions are beautiful and great, but the energy that gets created during a tradition or during an event or something that happens will never be the same again. It is unique and amazing and a beautiful song that you all co-created together. And there's no way that it'll ever end up having the same exact frequencies and right recipes to make that happen again. So the way that we can make that happen again is to stay present and to allow things to happen organically. And before you know it, you're laughing about something you never even thought was possible. So Mother Earth, you are being very loved, very held, and very comforted, Sage. And then I'm also wanting to pull a starseed card for you. Last but not least, you are not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. Important to spend time alone when you need to. You are very empathic and intuitive, and you need your alone time. And when you do choose to connect, it's important to allow that to happen in spirit and meditation. They're showing in particular with you. You got a lot of action on the astral plane. And then you do have like a nice, solid, small group of people that you can connect with, and you can share what's going on when you're ready, if and when. And I even see elders. I don't know if you still have like grandmother or energy like that around that you like to go talk to, or an older teacher or something, but they're just showing you're very held at this time, and allow yourself to be. Know that you're not alone. And when you are, it's just because you're meant to kind of gather up the little pieces of your soul and spend some time with it on your own without the influence of anyone else. And I hope that helps you and supports you and sends you some love today, Sage.
She said today is his birthday. She hasn't responded yet. You just stopped talking though. She said today is his birthday, and that's very helpful. So I do hope that that helps. And it's difficult. I mean, like, grief is one of the hardest things. Mandee almost made me cry, because the way she said that was absolutely beautiful. In the situations, we're kind of grieving losses all the time, but not on that extent, not in that loss type of extent. But when we look back on it, one of the things that I've focused, and it's weird because I hear people, there was somebody that made a comment one time about a post that I shared about somebody losing their mom. And she said, people people have to grieve differently. My mom is still alive, but I have to grieve the fact that I never had that experience with my mom the way that I wanted with my mom. And, people kind of shut that down and they're like, well, it's not the same. But why isn't it? Why isn't it? Because she still didn't have that. She still doesn't experience that. And so just because her loss wasn't the same doesn't invalidate her feelings of loss. And so there's all these things there. And the one thing that is true is that we all experience that differently. And we all have to find a way to make that puzzle get put together differently than what we expected to have to put it together. And that is one of the hardest things, our hardest hurdles, I think, in the grieving process to overcome, is the fact that you're looking at this beautiful puzzle that you had made up inside of yourself. And then all of a sudden, it's just, you've got different pieces in front of you and you have to put together something completely different than you wanted to. And that changed your whole plan. And that's so traumatic. That's like a death times 2 through how spirit presents it. Sometimes when death happens, we die a little bit too, because we have to regrow our lives differently. And we have to get back up on the horse and we don't have time. And it's so hard. And so when these moments come back around, or when these anniversaries come back around, or when we're not constantly busy, that's why it like hits us so hard, because we're focusing again on all those aspects of what that means for us. And so Mandee said that so beautifully in so many ways, because it's like get back inside of you, call them back into you and say, hey, surround me, be with me, whatever. Anybody, I don't care if it's been 2 days or 10 years, grief hits us all differently. So I'm sorry that you're experiencing that loss. And I'm sorry that you're going through it a little bit harder today than what you have been. And all I can do, if words could heal, all I can do is bless you and honor you and say that I'm giving you a hug. If you energetically receive that, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. But at the same time, I can't even with that. It's a lot. And I think a lot of us are going through that in our own ways based on what I'm hearing people say. Okay. Can you explain how you know whether it's spirit or your energy causing electrical things to malfunction and move off? I actually have to pay attention to my energy when I'm high vibing, which could be anxiousness. It could be my anxiousness also, by the way. Crystal just emits that energy. So I've learned to really pay attention to my own energy in those moments. And so if it's not me, it's definitely not going to be a high energy day. If I have a high energy day, I fuck up everything. So excuse my French, don't excuse my French. Computers, self-checkouts, anything that is electrical, lights flicker when I walk under them sometimes. And it's because I myself am not essentially channeling that energy out, and I'm holding it inside of myself, and I'm not grounding myself and taking care of my own energy field at that time, and I'm not using it properly. So that's one of those things, which essentially is like PK manifestation. That's how that all starts. That's keeping it all in and not channeling it constructively. And that's how I can tell the difference. Spirit energy just happens. There's no rhyme or reason to it. When I'm creating it myself, there's a rhyme and reason to it. I feel it. I know that I'm having a day. Oh, I'm sorry.
I cry things when I'm like irritated or angry. Not like when I'm like high energy, like happy, like because things are still coming out and it's like sprinkling love everywhere. But like when I'm holding it in or angry or frustrated or like whatever, that's when my shit cries. Later laptop, later phone, zing. So you have to release, just like any other electricity. You got to go out and ground in. You stick the wire in the ground, right, guys? Same for you.
And channel it out somehow. Like take a walk, do something, exercise. Get it out, move, dance,
breath
work, do something.
Dancing,
like I don't care what you do, just shake it off. My guides give it to me in the form of a duck. They're like, and then wag it out in your tail. Like, let it go, Crystal.
One thing I do with a lot of my kids, like kid clients that I work with, and it also works great with adults. I call it the breathe and squeeze. And you take a breath in and you squeeze every single fucking bone and cell and muscle body you possibly can like as hard as you can and try it now. And you'll realize like, oh wow, I'm squeezing as hard as I can, but like not even my legs. And you're like, wait, let me add that in. Let me see. And like, if you guys try it right now, like every little thing, and you do it while like eventually holding your breath. And then when you can't possibly squeeze anything else anymore, you let go, you will feel such a crazy shift in your body. It's magnificent. And it's so crazy how when you tell yourself squeeze everything in your body, you'll realize you don't. You're like, wait a minute, this bicep isn't even, wait a minute, I can like do this butt cheek a little bit, or this calf, and like this knee muscle, and wait, there's a muscle back there. And it's so crazy. And then when you release it, so try that and let me know how you guys feel, because it's pretty cool. And that it's called the squeeze and breathe, and it releases so much. And that's a great way you can ground in just a few seconds when you're by yourself. You see little kids intuitively do it too. You see them get right, and then and a lot of times they feel better after that, and we can too. Okay, so I only have about 10 more minutes or so.
I was going to say
that's
right
it?
now.
Okay, good.
Yep, we only have one more, and it is Andrea. So after Andrea, we can't do any more cards, only because Mandee has to go. She's got other things to do. So Andrea says, I will always take a message from either of you. Grateful and love-filled.
Andrea, you got the eagle. See from a higher perspective. Your angels are giggling because you do dance all the time between your higher self and your inner child and you in this lifetime. And things can, because you are so sensitive, things can distract you sometimes. And you'll find yourself getting really upset about stuff. So whenever anger comes up, see what you can do to transmute that anger into passion. If there's a reason it's happening, it's because there's something you're passionate about, and maybe you can write about it, dance about it, create art, do something like that. And then also they're showing you holding space with others. And even if just weird traumas or dramas are happening, seeing what you can do to have a higher perspective, see what you can do to zoom out and look from a different view and take the mature route about it with yourself and with others. And you really are someone a lot of people look up to. So it's important to embody that as much as possible. And your angels are with you, and you have a lot of energy helping you to see from that higher and different perspective. And it's all just, magical little growing pains there to help you stand in your light even stronger.
We do have a lot of other comments, and I would love, because there's some good comments on there tonight, Mandee. But we're running short on a few of them. So they're dealing with like cards. So that's why I was like, we do have a couple that are like pretty heavy, but also good comments. Hello, I was severely hurt by several people tonight for no reason. One of them was someone I had been dating. Can you please help me? Why did they do this? I would love to be able to tell you why bad people do bad things, or even good people do bad things. That is one of those things, like the Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop, the world may never know. Other than the fact that I believe wholeheartedly that hurt people hurt people. Okay. And I believe fully that some people just don't necessarily think about other people in the form of experiences. And I also believe that sometimes we sabotage our own lives because things might be becoming happier than what we are ready for, or what we're used to, or what we think we deserve. Okay. And so my vibe with that conversation is that's what I'm feeling behind it. I don't necessarily, and I know this is not going to be, this is not your interpretation. Please hear me out here. I know this is probably not how you're interpreting it because it happened to you. However, they're not making me feel like it was done to you. They're making me feel like it was done to themselves, because the outcome of that is self-harm in a hurtful way towards others. And so that's essentially how Spirit's presenting that one to me. And I know that one's a hard one to digest because we don't look at it like that as humans sometimes, but I really want to tell you that I don't think this actually had anything to do with you per se. I think you're a good person. And I think sometimes your empathy and your understanding kind of puts you in a position maybe to bend over backwards to make other people comfortable instead of yourself. So boundaries would be good for you, but also understanding and reciprocating that I don't necessarily know that this has anything to do with you specifically. I think that this is just somebody else not wanting to be responsible.
And I want to add too, I think, yeah, I think that this is also an opportunity, like we were talking about in the beginning. We talked about this in the beginning of the show a little bit, like it's our responsibility and how we respond to it. And the only way people can hurt us is if we allow them. And if there's something they said to you or did to you, like physically, like, yeah, not cool to physically hurt you at all. And what we can do is healthy boundary, remove ourselves from the situation, apply salt to the wound, do what we got to do to heal it and flush it, of course, or wrap it up. And then with emotional wounds, it's like, okay, well, do I believe that about myself, what they said? Do I deserve this? Like, no. Sometimes we're just collateral damage. Sometimes we also create a safe place. Sometimes we're the closest people to those people, and then they take shit out on us because we created a safe place and container for that.
Hold on,
Go ahead,
Mandee.
girl.
You need to read this comment because what we're receiving is accurate. She says it was last night. I have a concussion. So what I'm picking up is the most loving way that I can say, I believe you need firm boundaries and not to open that door again. Okay. That's literally the most loving way that I can say that right now. And what Mandee is literally talking about is exactly where that's going. And I'm sorry that you had to have that experience.
Each person has different boundaries. And especially when physical abuse comes up, there's a lot of women in particular or people who that's the drawing point. Like the Pamela Anderson documentary and all these things are coming out. And in her Netflix one, she talked about like when she chose to leave Tommy Lee, it was because that was the first time physical abuse happened. And she was holding the baby and it scared her and it was a hard no. And as much as she loved him, as much as she wanted to be with him, as much as whatever, it was her hard no. I've been in abusive, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, all the things, relationships. So is Crystal. I know myself. I put up with a lot before I chose to leave. And for myself, the reason I didn't was because I didn't have self-worth and self-love and true boundaries at that time. And it's a work and it's a process. And there's always another opportunity to step into it. And you can ask your angels for your help. You can surround yourself with a supportive group. You can come up with an idea of how to have hard boundaries around this. But for some people, for me, like now if that comes up in a relationship, it's just a hard no. There's no getting back around it. There's no growing from it. There's no healing. There's no true forgiveness. Like unless I'm out of that relationship, then I can do that. I can't do that anymore with someone in a relationship. And that's my personal boundaries and what comes up. So it's all about what you feel like comes in for you and what feels like you can do at this time and what's attainable and achievable, and getting clear on what your boundaries are. Like, is this something I accept? Like, no. And accidents happen, of course, and things happen. So it's important to say, okay, what can I do to prevent this from happening again? And what kind of healthy boundaries can I put in? What kind of love can I give myself during these moments? And then if you're alone in the pain after, sometimes it's like, okay, thank you for letting me be alone and not in those energy vortexes that aren't serving me right now, because my angels can come in and hug me and my ancestors can, kiss my skin knees and my boo-boos in my head and all the things. And then you're able to spend some time really tuning in with what feels best. But no, you're not alone. No, we've all been through so much of this, and it truly is an inner journey. And it's so important to meet yourself with as much love and as much grace as possible. And sometimes just surrendering and saying, you know what, like, I don't want to engage. I don't want to know the answers. I don't want to know the why. I just want to say, I need peace right now. And
it is what it is. And close the door, move forward.
That is an acceptable boundary. That's an acceptable boundary.
I do wish you love.
So beautiful.
I do wish you love, and I'm sorry that you had to experience that. You can't see because my hand isn't here, but I do seriously offer you love. Understand in my own way, didn't go through your experience, but I understand what I've experienced, and I know how hard that is because you're in a place where you have to pick your heart. And it's very difficult when emotions are involved, and you're an emotional being like you are. So I love you. I thank you for putting that raw comment out there, and I thank you for letting us help you with it. And now I'm sorry, guys. I know you want to have readings all night long because Mandee's the bomb, but we do have to go because she has a soul circle tonight, and I'm going to let her say her thing, and I'm going to let her invite you to it again on the Sea Goddess Healing Arts page.
Yes, and we didn't get to give everyone a shout out, but thank you, Sophia and Heather and Sage and Audra and Andrea and everybody who hopped on tonight, Danielle. We love you all. We're grateful for you. Thank you for showing up, doing your work, holding soul space with us, tonight at 7:30, a half hour from now, we are doing a online soul circle. We've got a full moon coming up this week. We've got some energies to talk about. We're at the end of winter, and you can sign up online on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. It's $11.11, and we'd love to hold soul space with you. There's going to be astrology, readings, soul inquiry, and sharing. So you'll have an opportunity to speak, have some one-on-one time, and it'll be nice. And also, if you made it to the end of this live, at the end of every live, I always let people know that I offer a 50% off coupon for any of my services on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. You just have to type in Mandee Live. And if you want or need that coupon and you forget it, just shoot us an email and we'll let you know. Thank you so much for holding space with us tonight. Crystal, how can people get a hold of you?
I have a new website. Woohoo! I have a new website. It is Spirit Speaks, LLCIP for Impromptu Paranormal at www.com. So you can hit me up there if you want to find me. Other than that, I literally want you all to know how much I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for following both of us. And thank you so very much for all of your guys' communication back and forth, because it helps us also help you and meet you and also meet ourselves. So I really appreciate you guys so very much. Wouldn't be here today right now if not for the people that I have commenting and Mandee. So thank you. Have a great week, guys. Mandee, have an awesome soul circle. I'm super excited. This weekend, I'm making stuff after we're done, because this weekend I'm going on my first big taped investigation, and I'm so excited for it. So that's going to be to come on my YouTube page. And I thank you guys. You have a great, wonderful night. Bye.
Bye.